is the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS show with Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, everybody? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Preview Show. It is Thursday, James, which means we have just 2 games on this main slate. A couple teams here on a back-to-back. We got Milwaukee going up against Indiana. Both of these teams played on Wednesday. Then we have Atlanta, Orlando. They did not. 2 games. One starts at 7. One starts at 9:30. 9:30, kind of a late start for an Orlando game here, James. Yeah, usually you get that West Coast 9:30 start here, not an East Coast 9:30 start. So a little something to pay attention to there, maybe.
Mexico City game, John.
Oh, right, they're in Mexico, right?
Yep, Mexico City game.
They are not in Orlando. Well, there you go. You know, I knew that. We talked about that. Completely forgot about it as soon as we hit go. So we have 4 games here ready to go for the Thursday. Coming off of the 14-game main slate where some chalk smashed, some chalk didn't. Late pivots didn't work. Those who did pivot did. One of those nights here, James.
Definitely one of those nights. Having LaMelo Kuzma is a good start. That's what I had. I then pivoted to 3 Lakers. So.
Yeah, Lakers did not work out. Anthony Davis ruled out late, and a lot of the field. You're not alone. A lot of the rostership, if you check these GPP tournaments, Christian Wood, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, no. did not come through here against Houston. And you know what? We kind of talked a little bit about it not being a great spot for the Lakers anyways, but sometimes – you get blinded by the open usage that opens up and the fact that, there's some value now and you can kind of shift things around. But we said it, like the Rockets play slow. They're, not giving up a lot of points. And, the Lakers kind of fell into that trap where they couldn't score. Christian Wood, 40% rostered in tournaments, had 6 fantasy points, not great pivots there for those who made the moves. But again, we kind of live and learn. There are certainly days where you make the pivots and it works out. You and I thought, given the lateness of that news, that maybe Christian would have been a contrarian play. Maybe some people would have been locked into their center spots with Olynyk, with Gafford kind of already being put in there. We knew Naz Reid was going to have some ownership. He still kind of held on to some of that. But seemingly, and you and I are kind of maybe figuring that out, that Nikola Jokic was on track to be a pretty highly rostered play. And then pivots happened. People saw that Christian Wood became available. They went down from Jokic to Christian Wood. They went up somewhere else to get LeBron James and Austin Reeves, and that's kind of where some of the ownership found themselves here on the Wednesday main slate. But we turn the page, we live and learn, we move forward, and we got 2 games here now on the Thursday slate.
Yeah, pivots giveth and pivots taketh away, John. Yeah. I don't have much else to say. I will say not having Nikola Jokic without Jamal Murray, it hurts. It hurts. But the 2 games are very interesting. Milwaukee, Indiana is a massive total, 243.5. So I'm a little interested how this game environment is going to be in Atlanta or Orlando, John, because we have a situation where we've seen elevated spots in baseball and we've seen elevated spots in football. We don't have that necessarily in basketball. We have it in Denver where it's hard to play. They didn't lose a playoff game there and they haven't lost before tonight. We don't know how the final result of the Warriors Nuggets game at half is, but they haven't lost one at home. This is a situation where it's elevated surface. Are people going to run out of gas faster than normal? So Atlanta, Orlando is definitely an interesting game. 231 implied points. I would say, that has a lot to do with Atlanta than it does Orlando, because Atlanta's playing really fast. They are playing really well offensively and playing really poorly defensively. So definitely some interesting basketball, despite it being 2 games. Mainly because I don't know how Orlando and Atlanta are going to fare in this climate change down in Mexico City.
No, 100% agree with you there. We're going to break it down with just 4 games here, team by team. We'll start off here with the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis got ejected for dunking and then yelling and then doing the too small taunt after he already had one previous tech on the Wednesday slate. So he got teed up, got ejected from that game. Now going up against the Indiana Pacers here. Still, a great spot for Giannis, assuming he stays, fully engaged here in this contest at $10,700 here. One of the best spend ups on the slate where he is the top spend up on the slate.
Yeah, I'm okay, obviously, getting to Giannis. No problems there, because if we get the 62 fantasy points that you get versus Brooklyn, then on a 2-game slate, like, it's really hard to make that up. So, obviously, perfectly fine getting to Giannis. I think it's worth mentioning Chris Middleton is expected to play here because the back-to-back. So,
He'll
we've
still be
seen
limited, though. There won't be a lot of minutes going his way.
No, sure. The minutes have been ramped up slightly, 16, 17, 17, 21, 21. Seems like these ramp ups are happening like in increments. Maybe we get 24, 25 minutes here. I think that Milwaukee is still kind of trying to figure out how to play with all 3 of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis still hasn't really shown a ceiling outside of that Brooklyn game, so I'm perfectly fine getting to Giannis on a 2-game slate. The price, I was talking about how good it was on the Wednesday slate, and here we are after an ejection at 39 fantasy points. It's back up $200
Right.
Again.
Yep. Moving on down, Dame Lillard here, $9,500. You mentioned Middleton, Brolo. Bobby Portis is always a tournament play for me, and he had, again, with the Giannis ejection, came through and had a pretty nice game here. We don't think much of the Indiana Pacers defensively here, so there's probably won't be few and far between plays with Milwaukee that we won't at least have some level of interest in.
Yeah, this is a very interesting spot for Bobby Poe, because he doesn't need a lot of time to put up a lot of fantasy points. Indiana is a great matchup for opposing teams. They are second in pace, and they are 26th in defensive rating. So
yeah. I also think about who comes in off the bench for Indiana, right? It's Jalen Smith, who we like. Jalen Smith, he had a huge night for the Pacers here on the Wednesday, but also a generally very foul happy individual here. So Bobby Portis could have himself a night if he gets on the floor at the same time Jalen Smith gets on the floor, or do they even still play Isaiah Jackson anymore? Like, I don't even know.
He's the third center.
Yeah. So another guy though that's super foul happy, along with Miles Turner, who gets super foul happy. So it could be a nice night at the free throw line for some of these guys here on a small slate. Bobby Portis. We use the term GPP winner maybe too loosely sometimes, but like off the bench, he gave you 35 in this game against Miami off their bench in 19 minutes. Something like that pops against the Pacers team, and I think it's within the range of outcomes for him. Like, definitely can be that type of guy for you.
Agreed. And there's not much more to like really on this team after Bobby Portis.
Right, now that Middleton's back, you can't really go into Crowder, Beasley, not playing many minutes anymore. So I'm with you. It's Giannis, it's Lillard, it's Portis. Do you give any love for Brolo?
Yeah, he always has like a ceiling because the blocks. He had 8 blocks 2 games ago against the Knicks, so there's always that. Potentially, he's not like, I think there's better center options on every other team on the board, but yeah, Burlow's he's fine.
Let's take a look at the Pacers now. $10,000, Tyrese Haliburton. A guy got off to a very, very slow start on Wednesday. Still finished with a double-double. Actually had a ceiling rebounding game against Utah here on Wednesday as well. As you mentioned, against Charlotte, he had 27 points in a single quarter, so you know what he's capable of. And what have we talked a lot about this year? The backcourt defense for the Bucks needs a lot of help. So Haliburton could be having himself another high-scoring output game. Again, both of these teams are on back-to-backs here, and the Pacers kind of had the night off. They blew out Utah in their game here. So liking Haliburton at 10K. If you had to make the decision of spending up for one play, is it Giannis or Haliburton on the slate?
Is it Giannis or Haliburton? That's a close one. I'll go Haliburton. I feel a little better about where he's been overall, but obviously, if you want to go Giannis, I can't fault you for
Can't
that.
argue that. Can't argue. I agree with you. After Haliburton, some pretty decent guys that I think you can take flyers on because they all have, we talk range of outcomes, right? I mean, from Turner to Heel to Bruce Brown to Matherin to Neesmith, Jalen Smith, they all kind of have low floors, high ceilings, So perfect for a 2-game slate because if you pick the right ticket here, you might be able to leap some guys in your contests.
Yeah, I think ultimately that's the problem. Which guy is going to be the guy that does go off? We saw TJ McConnell DMP. Does he play like magically? And then Carlisle he could be 20. McConnell could play 20 minutes tomorrow, and it wouldn't shock anybody.
The anti-Nick Nurse,
Yeah, anti-Nick Nurse. Obi Toppin played 19 minutes on Wednesday after seemingly being the one guy that okay, this is going to be the other guy that plays minutes other than like Bruce Brown and Haliburton. Yeah. And then he played 19 minutes because
you know what happened? Not only the blow up, but Neesmith just hit all of his shots.
Hit all of his shots. And so then maybe you go back to Toppin. But I agree, like you could definitely take a shot at any of those other guys. I'm fine getting all in any of them. I do think Obi Toppin is kind of worth a look, especially with the minutes basically up until Wednesday's game has been trending upwards.
Yep. I like it. I like Bruce Brown here too at $6,100. Yep. Feels like maybe the safest floor of the group. So not a bad spot there. Moving on over to this Atlanta-Orlando matchup. Trae Young, 83, DeJounte Murray, 82. Two guys that you and I kind of split our exposures to. You've been digging in on the Trae Young. I've been playing DeJounte for a little bit cheaper. I know last time out we both agreed on getting the DeJounte at the discount here, but still $1,100 for DeJounte Murray. He shouldn't really be that much off of the way either DeJounte needs to be priced up more or Trae Young needs to be cheaper because they're pretty much giving you the same production here, even with the price difference.
100% agree. I am 100% playing Trae Young. I pivoted last slate. This is the time. It's a 2-game slate. DeJounte is going to be 100% owned. Not 100%, but he's going to be.
He'll get more rostership than
he Trae. Is definitely going to be higher owned than DeJounte, and rightfully so. But again, 44 fantasy point, 22 point double for Trae Young playing 36 minutes when he goes 5 of 18 from the floor. There is going to be a breakout very, very soon. Like we're getting this really solid production with terrible shooting night after terrible shooting night. And that's why I'm confident that we're going to see the blow up from Trae Young on a 2-game slate. I'm more than willing to test it. And that's not me saying I'm not going to play DeJounte. I might have lineups with both. This is 232 total. It's not like this is a bad game environment. So also we like 2 players on Milwaukee, on a 2-game slate. So we're going to have to make decisions somewhere. I'm going to be playing Trae Young. Also, this is the closest the gap's been, right?
DeJounte's
been high 7s, mid 7s, where Trae's been
always been 93, right?
So, so the gap is closing, and I still understand that Murray's been better per minute and per dollar, but Trae Young's been seeing fantasy production with awful shooting. So we know Trae's a better shooter than what he's showing right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. Jalen Johnson, you were on this guy from the jump as someone that needed to be on our radar from opening night when he was $3,500. Price has steadily risen, but he's been giving us ridiculous production. $6,300 is still underpriced for what we're getting recent numbers out of him here. I mean, we want 31 fantasy points for 5X here, and he's giving you 45 and 42 the last 2 slates. Going up against Orlando here, does the Paolo Banchero or the Franz Wagner matchup worry you at all when it comes to Jalen Johnson, or are you just full go right now with him?
I mean, you would think there could be foul trouble, and then you think of the recent matchups. OKC has a lot of good players on the wing that he had to guard. Jalen Williams probably matched up with Chet at some point. New Orleans, there's Zion in that game. You would think, oh, maybe foul trouble against Zion. No. Milwaukee, he had 4 fouls, but he played 26 minutes with Giannis on the other side. Minnesota, Towns and Gobert, like he's a guy who could get into foul trouble, and he's been pretty good at navigating that. So not something that's necessarily gonna make me limit my exposure, especially when he has double-digit rebounds in 3 straight games. He scored 21 2 games ago. He has multiple assists in 4 straight games. Like Jalen Johnson's doing everything. And on top of that, 2 straight games, 34, 36 minutes. So he's starting, playing big minutes. Love to see it. Atlanta's probably, I mean, you can play like their top 7, right? Like,
yeah. You can play Bogdan. You can play Hunter, Capella, Bay, Okonkwo. You can, from here up, they're all in play on a slate like this.
This, I know I've been like Ngakwe, like his number 1 fan, but I like, and I know he's been great. He's closing pretty much every game. Like Capella,
25 minutes his last game against the Thunder there.
Dude, he's like closing. It's like every game he closes. Other than the New Orleans game. This feels like another Ngakwe game. To me, he's gonna have more ownership than Capella, so maybe another
at $4,200.
I know it's
you know how people are getting to Giannis and Haliburton on this slate? It's because they're playing Ngakwe here at $4,200.
Yeah, they sure are.
Super cheap price. Let's go on over to Orlando here. Do we have the Fultz news yet? Considered questionable for this game. Obviously, Fultz had been out. So we were getting Black and Suggs in the starting lineup and Anthony off the bench. We know Goga is going to continue to start here with Wendell Carter out of the lineup. Goga playing 22 minutes the other night, still came through with 20 fantasy points. Mo Wagner had a Mo Wagner game, though. 26 minutes, was hitting all of his shots, 19-5. Which direction do we go with the Orlando center in this slate?
I mean, look, when Mo Wagner's doing that offensively, they're not going to take him off the floor when he's not in foul trouble, I guess. Like, I feel like the safe projection here is like 24 and 24 minutes. Like, you just split the 48 minutes at center.
Yeah. And you know that they're both fantasy point per minute players. So
yeah.
You just project them for 20 to 22 fantasy points is a low end, right?
Yeah. I mean, Mo Wagner's the higher usage guy, as you can tell by the shot attempts. He's double-digit shot attempts the last 2 games. Goga has taken 11 shots combined in the last 2 games. But Goga's been really good on the defensive end, and he's really good on the glass. So Mo Wagner probably has a little more upside at his price. So I probably lean Wagner a little bit, but I'm also okay if, like, on a 2-game slate, everyone's pivoting to Wagner. Again, it's just another situation where I'm looking at a 2-game slate and looking for any type of leverage. If Batadze is coming in cheaper or coming lower owned, I'd probably pivot to Batadze.
Sure. Top end guys. Banchero, Front, Cole Anthony. Banchero really starting to play well. Franz Wagner had one of his kind of pedestrian stand in the corner, kind of watch Mo do things game last time out, which was kind of frustrating. But Paolo continues to play well. 18 more shot attempts for him, 6 assists from the line, 5 boards, 6 assists. We were getting some consistency with the defense. Didn't have any stats there against Dallas, but maybe that turns around here against Atlanta.
He wanted to let big bro cook. Franz did. And Paolo, I mean, I think the defensive stats are sometimes hard to come by, but he's been pretty consistent there. Man, those 2 games prior were just insane.
I mean, overall. this is the number 1 overall pick. This is the number 1 overall pick right there, right? So shows you what he can be when he can find some of that consistency here. Wasn't able to get it done with Dallas. But you know what? Maybe we need to give Dallas a little bit more credit on like their front court defense. I mean, for a while, Scotty Barnes did absolutely nothing against them. For a bit here, they got to go in late in that game and finish off with a good score. But it was not that Paolo had a bad night, but he didn't have the monster night that he was giving us prior. So.
Right.
Something to maybe give some looks into Dallas a little bit moving forward there. All right. Short slate, guys. Obviously, short show. Let's finish up with a lineup. I think we've kind of already suggested we were going to go with Ngakwe here at center. You like mentioning paying up for Haliburton. Is that still the case, or are we looking at Atlanta guards here?
Okay. Let's play Halle B.
All right. We got 59.96 here. Pick your pacer, random play. your pacer mid-tier guy.
Oh man. I mean, we could play Jalen. The only problem with Jalen, we're relying on Jalen Smith backup, hoping Miles Turner fouls, and then playing Ngakwe.
All right, let's play Portis then. Portis at 55 at the power forward.
Okay.
We have $6,000 remaining. We just talked Orlando here.
Orlando's a really good.
We didn't talk much about the guards. I mean, Suggs and Black are here. Both, we have to assume Fultz is out.
No,
if Fultz is in,
he practiced. By the way,
okay. Do you want to play? Do you want to count Fultz as in then? $5,100.
I think the safer bet is counting him in if he practiced, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. So let's throw Fultz in at our guard spot here at 51. $6,300. Can we fit Trey? Trey would give us 53 per play. Which Bogdan.
I was gonna say then it's another Atlanta question.
Yeah. I mean, could we even fit Jalen here? Jalen would give us 48 a player. And that would give us a shooting guard, small forward for 48 a piece.
Bogdan.
Yeah, are we gonna do all these Atlanta guys? I guess we have to, right? There's not really much else there. Sadiq Bey, Jalen says a power forward. See, all these guys having power forward eligibility and center eligibility is not really doing us any favors here either. So, and none of these guys have shooting guard eligibility. Really, that's like also kind of a killer here. All right, let's do this. Let's go.
Ben Math, 53.
Yeah, where's the Ben Mathurin thing here? Ben Mathurin, 53. What did I get rid of that was down here? Trey?
Yeah.
Point guard, Trey. $7,400, $4,300. I mean, I guess it is a small slate. I guess using 4 for one team isn't the worst, right?
It's going to happen on smaller plays.
It's definitely going to happen. So if we want to build a lineup this way, we have 1 Milwaukee exposure, 1 Orlando. Haliburton, Mathurin, Bey, Portis, Ngakwe, Fultz, Jalen Johnson, Trae Young. Again, can't obviously maneuver this around however you want to get some more exposure to different players, all available with an example lineup. For every on the 2-game slate, Sean Mitchell will have your 2-game write-up. We'll be in the Discord if you have any questions ahead of this 2-game slate as well. No live show today with just the 2 games. We'll be back with a live show for Friday to close out the week. We'll also have, of course, our listener watcher league contest on Friday as well. So tune in for that, and we'll have the NBA DFS preview show Friday morning as well. For James and myself, though, everybody, good luck with your roster constructions for the 2-game slate, and we will catch you guys later.